Joe Mixon is under contract for the next 2 seasons after reworking his contract. Could the Bengals take some of that money and address the running back position? Some think they should add a veteran. Let's discuss it. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. And, well, there's a lot coming your way over the next week. I will be joined by Scott Burson and Sam Smathers. They've written From Bulldog to Bengal. You will see that interview right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk later this week. Plus, next week, you're going to hear from Mike Brown, Zach Taylor, both coordinators, Duke Tobin, and so much more right here on CBT before training camp. It's a big week. So hit that subscribe button as we quickly approach. Man, it's crazy to think about, but we're almost closing in now on 36,000 subscribers. Let's see if we can get to 40 during the 2023 season. And look, Joe Mixon deserves a lot of credit. There's no doubt about it. Taking the pay cut that he did over the next 2 years, essentially $9 million, a difference of $9 million, freeing up about $4.5 million in cap space for the Bengals this year. It was 4.4 roughly, and doing it next year as well, which does a couple of things. And we talked about these scenarios here on CBT, but it gives him a realistic shot of being on the roster if he plays well this year. And at the same time, it gives the Bengals some flexibility. And I've seen some say, okay, well, now you can go out and get that pass blocking back. And a few months ago, I was talking about Ezekiel Elliott. I thought he would be a good complement. I still do think he would be a good complement to Joe Mixon if you wanted to go that route. But from a pass blocking standpoint, I think the Bengals' plan is to stand pat, not to go get, and I'll pull up a list of free agents and go through some of these for you. But like Leonard Fournette's out there, obviously Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook wants too much money, and I think his lack of market was a real sticking point where Mixon couldn't he looked at it, he's like, draft class the same. He's a running back that has been successful, and he can't find a job getting a reasonable salary or a high-end salary, and we saw it with the franchise tags earlier this week as well. But Cook, Zeke, Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt, J.D. McKissick is a passing down type of back who you could bring in for that role. So there are guys. If you wanted to go lower, like league minimum type guys, you could go Kenyon Drake. You could go Darrell Williams. Marlon Mack is out there. There are guys, if you wanted to go younger, you could go Jarrett Patterson. I've talked about James Robinson on this channel as well. So there are guys like that are out there. And I think the Bengals just look at it and they say, you know what, let's see what we have in camp. And they haven't completely ruled out maybe going after one of these veterans, but based on what I've heard, they're going to stick with their guys and see if Trayveon Williams, Chris Evans, and not necessarily in this order, Chase Brown, not necessarily in that order. It might be Brown, it might be Williams, it might be Evans, but those guys can handle the pass blocking duties that Samaje Perine did last year. Because if so, Joe Mixon obviously can catch at a high level, had 60 receptions last year, is certainly effective in that way. He can split those early downs with Chase Brown some. I think Chase Brown, from a running back standpoint, had 328 carries last year. I think he's ready to go as an NFL runner. I think it's the other stuff. The catching, working on his hands. Not that he can't catch, but just working on his hands, because he didn't do it much at Illinois in that Big Ten offense. And then at the same time, the pass blocking aspect of it, it's as much mental as it is anything. Physically, I think he's capable of doing it. Physically, Joe Mixon's capable of doing it, but there's just a lot that goes into it. So overall, I think the Bengals feel pretty comfortable with their running back room, but there's a lot of talent out there. And so if Zeke is down to like $1 million, could the Bengals entertain it? I don't want to rule anything out. I just think as of now, they don't plan on adding anyone before camp starts, and they can get a look at these guys and then go from there. And then if they don't feel comfortable, then they should go get one of them, because that's the beauty of what Joe Mixon did, is he gave you that continuity where you know what he brings, you know exactly what you're going to get week in and week out, down in, down out, and you have some more cap flexibility. But I think the priority for the Bengals now is Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Logan Wilson, other extensions. And if something comes up where they don't feel as comfortable in that running back room, that's fine. I think they'll go that route in that scenario. But as of now, I would say they stand pat. They don't sign a running back, but there's plenty of them out there, and they're not all going to get scooped up. Like Leonard Fournette, like if you get in a pinch and you have to sign Leonard Fournette, I know they really liked him pre-draft, so wouldn't shock me at all if they went that route. Wouldn't shock me at all if they were an attraction to these running backs that are out there, and they should be. Now, a lot of things happen. A lot of times these things work themselves out. Hopefully one of these running backs emerges as a quality pass blocker, much like P. Ryan did a few years ago. It's not like he was known for that when he entered the league. That's something that he worked on and developed, and it got him paid this offseason by Denver. And the Bengals wanted to bring him back for a reason. So we'll see if Trayveon Williams can get that done, or Chris Evans or Chase Brown, because if so, the Bengals running back room should be solid. Certainly Joe Mixon has every reason, every incentive, over $2 million in incentives in his current contract this season. And then obviously showing the rest of the league that he can play at a high level would fortify him potentially on the Bengals roster in 2024. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, Joe deserves a lot of credit. I was talking with my guy, Joe Goodberry, earlier this week, and it's like, man, and I said this on Locked On Bengals, Mixon went from legacy-wise, from being a really good player from 2017 to 2022 to, if he was cut, that's all we would remember. Oh yeah, Mixon was a good player. But now if he helps deliver a Super Bowl in this season or next season to Cincinnati, and he's the starting running back, we're talking about Ring of Honor territory. We're talking about a guy who could be one of the, he's third in rushing yards right now. I think he could pass Rudy Johnson. I think that's a reasonable expectation for Joe Mixon now. And the Bengals can feel good about it because the salary is probably still a little bit more than he would get on the open market, but it makes sense because they value him and they value that continuity. So win-win deal. If you missed my reaction to that Mixon deal, make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out my conversation with Bengals safety Tyson Anderson. It's a long podcast type of conversation, over 20 minutes, really good stuff to get to know, I think, a player that kind of gets overlooked now, because when we talk about the safety room, it's Daxell, the first round pick. It's Nick Scott because they signed him this offseason. And then obviously it's Jordan Battle, the 95th pick, third round. Well, Tyson Anderson, they traded up for last year. And he flashed in the preseason before he got injured, didn't play, didn't practice much with the team, and didn't play in a game when the regular season started due to injury and due to designations and things like that. That's fine. This year, I think we will certainly see number 26, Tyson Anderson. So check out that interview and make sure you go to rivertowninkery.com. Doug and his team do a tremendous job, including this custom hat. I think we're going to be working on some CBT gear with Rivertown Inkery, but go there now. Get your orange and black gear. Maybe you're looking for some FC Cincinnati gear. Maybe you just need a Cincy pint glass. They have amazing stuff at rivertowninkery.com. For Andrew Fox Miller, our channel coordinator, I'm James Rapien. Signing off for now. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you get all of our latest videos right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk.